to start off, that is, I think, more than the ego, it's about the vibe. When you want to make two people work together, and because especially in this profession, it's not working, you're actually vibing, you're trying to enjoy, and you want to do that.
Say for example, an Arman Malik or an MC San who are like a bigger artist or an Anu would get a separate team. It's the same resources that are available to even my smallest artist who's just signed with us right now.
What's up, guys? I'm Agastya Shah.
I'm Abhishek Garg.
Aishman Sinha. I'm Shubham Singhal. Janak Bhanushali. My name is Nisrana.
I'm Hitesh.
So I feel like to sum everything up, to say that how will a creator reinvent himself, I think I'd seen an interview of this top hockey player. And what he said was how he became the best hockey player was he didn't run to where the ball was, he anticipated where the ball is going. And I feel like if every creator is doing that, or if every talent management agency is doing that, that is the right way to reinvent. Because you do what's working right now, you know where the ball is, but you have to know or anticipate where the ball is going, and that is reinventing, right? Basically, the first mover advantage that you have on that new genre or that little change in content is what separates you from the rest.
You correctly said this is where we all come in picture, and as suggesting for your younger one. But then again, it is a very frankly the time towards money kind of thing. How much are you ready to put that time in the nano creators to show them that way to what a bigger? That is what the whole point. So we have what we do at No Filters. We have this way of doing in a community format. We have studios which are there for everybody to use, so where they can mingle with others. You learn more when you have that kind. We have a very neural center system which helps everybody. We have design groups for everybody who can just ask random questions. You can talk to each other. I think collaborating and everything really helps.
Correct.
I can't teach 100 people or 50 people, but when they are taught together in a community format, really helps. And that is what we do. We have monthly events, photo shoot events, and they're not doing it individually, but they're doing it together. We have this whole studio booked out with different DOPs also who put out their ideas that I would like to shoot this.
Yeah.
And then there are times they all.
There's one thing that we can learn from other industries. So I think in the education space, I see this happening a lot, that there are these cohort-based learning programs. So what talent agencies do with their rosters is basically create cohorts of creators and let them engage with each other, grow together. So what are some of the challenges you face as talent management agencies while dealing with creators in that setting? And like I'm talking about, say, even 15, 20, 30, 100, like this. When you put them together in a cohort like this, do you see any ego clashes happening? Do you see any challenges apart from them not mingling together, but otherwise even in terms of representing in front of brands, whether I should pitch an Agastya or I should pitch someone else? Like from a talent management agency perspective.
Just to start off, that is, I think, more than the ego, it's about the vibe. When you want to make two people work together, and because especially in this profession, it's not working, you're actually vibing, you're trying to enjoy, and you want to do that. So that is a problem. Means I don't know if Agastya can make with an XYZ person if that content doesn't match, or I can't force that
to solve that. So because you manage multiple categories of creators, around 7 categories of creators, we recently hired a head of collaborations. The only job is for him to do cross collaborations across various genres. A finance with a beauty, or a beauty with a comedy, with a comedy with a music. So what happens? You garner new audience all the time. Your face is seen to multiple people, and you become more relevant. So that's the thing that multiple agencies need to do, that they're managing multiple creators. Like say for Aishman, for example, he manages only music and music creators and other big creators. He cannot do that. But people who have like 200 talents, 300 talents, they have to make sure that if your talent is not big enough, you put in that effort of making that talent big enough by helping you collaborate with the right people. Sometimes they might have apprehensions of not collaborating with other people, but when it is told by their manager or head of collaborations, you please collaborate, and this is the way you should do it. They're more open to, like, the brain gets more open, and they do it in a more open way, in a more rather than saying no to it immediately.
Our setup is slightly different. So even if you look at all of these guys, obviously manage at scale, we do it in a much more boutique way. So my manager to artist ratio is also, it's either a 1:1 or it's a 1:2 at max, which I'm guessing at most other places would be a 1:5 or 1:6, which is normally the case with them. So ours is a very high touch point. We build central teams that work with every single artist, so that though there's one manager, there's 18 people working on one account.
Right.
So people bringing in their own sort of specialities, which help them ultimately grow. And it's not that, say for example, an Arman Malik or an MC San who are like a bigger artist or an Anu would get a separate team. It's the same resources that are available to even my smallest artist who's just signed with us right now. So that is one. The second is similar to what he said, trying to build as many community events as possible.
Yeah.
So for us, it's slightly different in music. We do something called song camps. We did our first ever one right now where we had about 18 different artists go into a villa in Goa and start working on music together. There were 4 artists, 5 artists, 3 artists in different rooms, and they were there for 3 days. They came back with about 24 odd songs.
Wow.
All 24 songs are coming out.
Wow.
All of them have artists from various different scales.
That's cool.
Irrespective of who's bigger, who's smaller, what's happening, blah blah blah. Everyone owns the song equally. Everyone has the same amount of splits on it. Everyone are co-investing towards the visuals, the marketing, everything that is happening. So we've kept it very clear that if you're working with us, it's one unit. It's not. Since we're boutique, we're able to do that. They have that. They won't be able to do that because they're doing it at scale. We're very consciously very boutique. So while we might not grow as much, we'll be able to foster a lot more of those.
No, I think
things.
even at scale, right? If you do this in a very interesting playbook format, I don't think it's difficult to do it. I mean, I agree. From a comparison to a boutique
Yeah, friction
agency
for
to
me
a
is
large,
much lesser.
much lesser. But like for example, we experimented and we started something. It's whatever we're saying, it's a lot to do with community building. And I think Mihir is a fab job. What he's saying with physical space, I think it's phenomenal. A place, a hub to kind of come. But what we did is a more rotatory physical space, right? We call it Creator Connect. The idea is for creators to come together. Sometimes it could be a brainstorm of what the next trend looks like. The other aspects of it is to actually give them access to some open thought, right? So last time we had Tanmay, we had Aman Gupta from Bhatt, right? Because there is a perspective to say what is the brand looking for, right? As a marketer, because ultimately it's about how am I making the buck, right? And how am I getting more creative? So people who are aspiration in that space, there's also a free-flowing conversation. It's so amazing, like Ayushman just said, that they came back with 25 songs. In the last 3 or 4 Creator Connects, we've actually seen 15, 20 such new ideas and campaigns who have got executed. Because, and very strangely, I don't know if it's ego. I mean, when you say ego, it's coming from a collaboration point of view of literal work execution, which is where I would go with what Mihir said is a vibe check. On content and everything. But otherwise, I think this community, and this is the beauty, by the way, unlike the really, really big superstars, right? It's very easy to get this community together and work together and brainstorm and have open ideas. Because I don't think, what a given creator does versus someone else is really the same. There is this differentiation of audiences, there's a differentiation of tonality, there's a difference of creativity. And that's the best part of this. This is not science, right? This is art.
It's not about ego, it's about the vibe match. Because I feel like even if, for example, me, if I had to, what basically happens is sometimes if a creator's like, okay, I have 700,000 more followers than him, why will I collab with him? But I feel like that used to be the case. Now, like Mihir Bhai said, it's more about the vibe that I would also collab with a smaller, bigger, it doesn't matter. Exactly.
It's not work, right?
Exactly.
Tell me the story that you do. And there are some that you need to know your audience is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Understand. For some people, तुम फिर कोई भी प्रोडक्ट निकालो चलेगा, किसी के लिए है, does it attach to you? For some people it will be like reasonable. Are they saying the same thing? For example, Pancho, they are planning to open a food brand. They are known to be there's no bullshit. They're into comedy and there's no bullshit. तो भाई simple है, ये है.